Hi there, thank you very much for clicking through. My name is Dave Hompes, and for the next 10 minutes I'm just going to spend some time with you guys talking about the launch of my new and vastly improved H. pylori website, which is going to cover a whole load more health topics than just H. pylori. And the reason I've decided to diversify the website is because over the last 4 years of working with people who have H. pylori and digestive problems, chronic fatigue, depression, anxiety, and so on and so forth, I've come to realize that when we're looking at the digestive system and when we're looking at even kind of tiny little things like H. pylori, they can really cause a lot of different problems in the body. And the old website that you've probably seen really wasn't doing a particularly good job of educating people like you really on exactly what the problem was with H. pylori, or the problem is with H. pylori, how it is often accompanied with other bugs like yeast and fungal overgrowth, how food plays such an important role in digestive health, and then how if you don't have good digestive health, how that can actually lead on to lots and lots of other problems within the digestive system itself. Now, I had H. pylori myself, and it really knocked me out, so I know firsthand exactly what kinds of symptoms it can actually cause or contribute to. You know, I personally had a lot of acid reflux. I had a lot of heartburn and sort of stomach burning. I felt nauseous in the morning. Some mornings I would throw up, and that wasn't particularly pleasant. I would have kind of typical IBS and wind and bloating, but at the same time I felt very tired. I also had difficulty sleeping, and my moods just generally weren't me. I just didn't feel myself. And that kind of just got worse and worse over a period of about 6 months. And eventually, I mean, you know, my doctors did not want to run any tests. They just wanted me to take antacid medications and just kind of gloss over the problem. But I was determined to find out what the problem was, the root cause of the problem. And so I ran some stool testing, and fortunately, I was actually studying with a doctor in California at the time. We were doing a functional medicine course. And functional medicine is where we actually seek to find the root cause of health challenges. Whatever the health challenge is, we look for the root cause, whether it's digestion, whether it's hormonal balance, detoxification, and things like that. And what the stool test showed is that, sure enough, I had H. pylori. And, you know, I kind of thought, wow, that's really interesting. You know, here's a really simple test I can do at home. Found out what the root cause of a lot of my symptoms were. And just to cut a long story short, I didn't take any drugs. I simply used a herbal protocol, and the H. pylori went away. And at the same time, my symptoms disappeared very, very quickly. Literally within the space of a couple of weeks, most of my symptoms had gone. And it's not always as simple as that for people to get rid of these kinds of symptoms, but it shows what can be done if you just know what kind of testing and what have you is available to you. Now, another thing with H. pylori with me is that my mum died very young. She was only 60, and she died coming up to 3 years ago. And I'm actually going to be dedicating the launch of this new website to her, and we'll talk about that on a forthcoming video, probably in a couple of days' time. But when the autopsy came back, it turned out that my mum died of septicemia. Now, septicemia, if you're not sure what that is, it's basically blood poisoning with bacteria. And, you know, the bacteria has to get in there somehow. She hadn't had any outside wounds, but when the autopsy came back, the report showed that she had, quote unquote, severe gastroduodenitis. What that simply breaks down into meaning is that she had severe inflammation and damage and bleeding, in fact, in her stomach and small intestine. Okay, I believe that's what caused her to develop septicemia. The doctors didn't really link that together, but when you do the reading, it's pretty clear that that's likely to be what happened. Now, we never ran any testing for H. pylori with her. We didn't get the chance, but the doctors over 9 years of her being ill never even looked at her digestive system as a possible cause of problems. Now, she did smoke, and she did like her whiskey as well. So the damage could have been caused by those two factors, but I also believe she had a digestive infection as well. So H. pylori has become very, very close to my heart, and I've seen some real horror stories. We get, I've got hundreds of emails in my email folders from people who have these really horrendous stories about how they haven't been treated very well. And that's one of the main problems with H. pylori. There are several problems that you need to be aware of that your doctor is probably not going to make you aware of. The first problem is a lot of people have H. pylori. It's estimated that half the world's population carries this bug around. It's confusing because not everybody develops symptoms. Second, a lot of people have H. pylori, but they're kind of walking around with vague symptoms that they think are normal. So many people these days, we have a plague, we have an epidemic of irritable bowel syndrome, for example, bloating, heartburn, acid reflux, yada, yada, yada. All those symptoms go on, headaches, mood problems, chronic fatigue, insomnia, difficulties with all these basic bodily functions that get us through the day. And they go to the doctor, and I'm not blaming any doctor here because the doctor only has like 8 minutes or something like that to try and deal with the problem. The fact is they get sent home, patients like you get sent home being told that there's nothing that can be done, when in actual fact, simple changes in diet, the right kind of stool testing or any other testing that finds out what is going on with your system can actually uncover the root cause of the problem very quickly, and within 30, 60 or 90 days, bang, all your symptoms can be gone. And as I said earlier, it's not that simple for everybody, but for the majority of people, in my experience, if you run the right testing, you get the right advice, you can get rid of any of these symptoms very, very quickly. So that's problem number 2. A lot of people are walking around with these bugs inside them and they're never actually finding out what the cause is. Number 3, a lot of doctors, because of financial constraints with whichever healthcare system we're talking about, whether it's the NHS in the UK, Australia, whether it's the different health system that you guys have over in North America, there are financial problems with actually accessing the test. Sometimes the doctor doesn't want to run the test because it costs them too much in their primary healthcare trust, or in America, if you don't have medical insurance, you can't afford the test because even the basic test costs like upwards of $1,000 or something like that. The fourth problem is that actually the testing that generally is recommended in medical clinics is not that accurate. And the testing I use, for example, is thought to be 5,000 times more sensitive than a typical stool test that is carried out in the medical system because it uses a completely different technology. Okay, that's problem number 4. Problem number 5, even when you do find the bugs, the medical treatments, as I know for sure some of you have experienced, number 1, don't always work, and number 2, can actually cause side effects that are so horrendous that you can't even finish the course, rendering the course of medications completely useless. Now, there's another group of people who just get put on things like antacids. Month after month after month, you're taking Prilosec or Nexium or Zantac, or the generic names for these are things like omeprazole and lansoprazole. And these things are shutting down your digestive function. They might get rid of the symptoms short term, but they sure as hell aren't getting rid of the underlying cause of the problem, which then is going to lead to issues later on in life. Just as an example, osteoporosis is now strongly associated with the long-term use of acid suppressing medications, basically because if you don't have any acid in your stomach due to the meds, you can't digest and absorb your food, particularly nutrients like calcium, magnesium that are required for formation of your bones. So there are always knock-on effects with medical treatments. They don't get to the underlying cause of the problem. And that's what that's what my work, that's what my website is all about. It's going to be about teaching you the real root causes of a lot of these health problems and giving you the solutions, whether it's simple dietary and lifestyle changes, whether it's supermarket foods that you can go and get for just a few dollars, or herbs that you can take, all the way up to some of the more expensive testing, which actually, when you break it down, isn't expensive at all because you can't put a price on your health. A couple of $100 to find out whether you have H. pylori, which could cause you cancer or bleeding ulcers further down the line, is worth doing. So it's about giving you the options wherever you are so that you can make some informed decisions about your health. Now, one of the new things that we're going to bring on board with the new website, we're going to have a completely new system of education for you. I'm going to have interviews with many leading experts around the world in different topics. We're going to bring you topics such as how stress affects your body, cholesterol, weight loss, detoxification, as I mentioned earlier, how to have healthy skin, depression, PMS for women, sexual health, etc. We're going to bring it all together so that you can see how functional medicine works as opposed to the conventional medical model. Now, you're going to watch out. A lot of this stuff's just going to be sent out free to you. It's going to be done via teleseminars that you can dial in and listen to. You can listen to the recordings, tons of articles, you name it, we're going to have it, okay? But it's going to start next week. So next Monday, we're going to start with 4 consecutive days of teleseminars. And I'm going to have 4 leading experts. One of them is going to be me, without being too obnoxious. I'm going to do a particular talk on the effects of stress on the body. I'm going to have Dr. Jeff Moss. I'm going to have Justin Smith, who wrote 29 Billion Reasons to Lie About Cholesterol. And I'm going to have Dr. Laurent Bannock, who actually has worked with clients as famous as Princess Diana. He is a genius, and we're going to be talking about some really special topics for you next week to mark the launch of the new website. So what I want to say is that if you need help, feel free to email me or my office staff. We're here to help you in whatever way we can. Please feel free to comment on in the area beneath this video. You see at the bottom of the page. The more comments, the better. If you have any suggestions in terms of what you want to see on the website, fire across a comment or drop us an email, and we'll try to incorporate as many of your requests as we possibly can do. So watch out in your email box over the next couple of days or the next week or so, because there's going to be a lot more information about the talks next week, and I'm going to drop another couple of videos your way with some more really cool educational tidbits, and hopefully we'll make this launch a success. Hopefully we'll be able to get you all healthier and happier and ready for a brilliant 2011. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.